Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Katie Peplin. I am so excited to welcome you to AcWriMo, which I like typing a lot more than I'm saying. Academic Writing Month is here. It's November 1st. I'm so excited to have all of you here on this journey with me. We did this last year, and it was a really big success. Lots of people really enjoyed it. And hopefully it's back and better than ever. So a couple of things that I want to kind of start with. And the first one is I want to make it really, really clear that AcWriMo is based off of the National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, which I also don't love saying out loud. And that is a really strict process. You're trying to do 10,000 words in a month. People get really, really into tracking their words, figuring out how much needs to happen on each day, and there's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. I have tried my best to design this academic writing month to be as flexible as you need it to be. So if you want to set a really ambitious goal like 10,000 words this month, then go for it. I'm here to support you for that. And if your goal is to think about your project every day, then I'm here to support that goal too. So please feel empowered to take what is useful for you and to leave the parts that aren't. So if it doesn't feel good to be to track your daily word count because you know that you have a life that makes it really hard to write every day, then don't track your daily word count. Maybe fill in a square on an Excel sheet every time you do a poem, or fill in or mark off on a chart every time you write 100 words. There's lots of ways to measure your progress, and I really want to emphasize that people should make the month that's going to support them. With that being said, I do want to quickly kind of run down some of the major tools that we're going to have this month. The first is our Slack room. So there's a link to join the Slack room, and people are in there already doing poems and working together. So feel free to join that room. You can set your display name to be whatever you want. So if you want to go under an alias, nobody has to be, it's as private as you want it to be. The second thing that's already filling up and is so fun to read already is the overall accountability and goal setting sheet. So that is a Google sheet that you can you can use your initials, your name, whatever feels most useful to you. Tell us what your goal is, how you're going to track your progress, and then your reward, which is always something really fun. I suggest that even if it is just a hearty pat on the back, that you do decide in advance what you're going to do to celebrate all the hard work that you're going to do this month. We've got the Slack room, we have the accountability sheet. I've also added this year a daily accountability template in a folder. So you can copy this spreadsheet. It has a slot for every day to say what your goal is, how it turned out, and then to write any notes. And you can leave that public so that people can comment and cheer you on, or you can just leave it private in your own Google folder. Feel free to use whatever tracking works best for you. So we've got community, we've got tracking, and then every week, about twice a week, I'm going to be sending out emails. So on Monday, it's going to be a general reminder to check in on your website, check in on your sheet, check in with your goals, make some plans. And then on Thursday, there's going to be a resource heavy email. It'll have free worksheets, free resources, tips to do, just ways to check in. And then last but not least, there are 3 webinars. This is the first, and then we'll have 2 more throughout the month. Today's webinar is all about bending time and space to fit your will and your plans, or what to do if you can't quite get that. The second webinar is going to be about resetting and resiliency. So what to do if your plans get off track, how to support yourself if life gets busy, how to build a writing practice that can maintain even though life is going up and down. And then the third webinar is going to be about how to keep the AcWriMo energy going in December and then into 2020, the next decade, as scary as that is. So I apologize for my mug. I am feeling pretty under the weather, but I double stacked some Dayquil and some coffee, so I'm confident that I'm going to make it through. But if you see my mug, that's what's happening. So forgive me if I'm drinking a little bit in order to keep my voice so that it's happening and keeping going. Okay. So the tools are all free. The month is ongoing. People can join at any time. So if you think that you have friends that would love to be here, you want to share it with your department, you think you have colleagues that would really benefit, feel free to send them to the same website that you signed up in. It's the pinned tweet in my Twitter profile as well. So go there. People can join all month. It doesn't close. People joined as late as like November 20th last year and made great kinds of progress. So the month is ongoing. But now I really want to shift gears and talk to them about the meat of what we're doing, which is the scheduling. NaNoWriMo and AcWriMo sound great in practice. I'm going to take this month. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to write every day. I'm going to build my writing practice. I'm going to get that chapter done. See what's happening. And it sounds amazing. We've got these big goals. We're just going to make it work. But so many of us will start with these goals and then we don't adjust the time and the resources that we're giving to them. So it can be really, really frustrating if you're saying, okay, I am already working 40, 50, 60 hours a week sometimes. My life is full. I'm a parent. I'm a caretaker. I am a teacher. I have a full-time job. I am trying to squeeze this in. I'm already busy. Every minute of my day is accounting for. Now, where am I going to find an extra 30 minutes to write? So the first thing I would say is that there is no such thing as an extra 30 minutes. If you were feeling intimidated by November, that's okay. It's okay to feel really scared about how this is going to work, whether or not you're going to be able to do it. Some people can just brute force their way into an academic writing month. They can get up 30 minutes earlier, they stay at work 30 minutes later, and they make it work. But even those kind of brute force, I'm just going to do it no matter what, eventually you're going to steal the time or the energy from somewhere else. So I really want to talk through the kind of mechanics of how you can fit this into your day, how you can make it practical, how you can find the time, because the scientists have been working. We have science fiction to prove that the time-space fabric, even if it was pliable, even if we could make extra time, there's consequences. So even if you have a time turner, and if you do have a time turner, please share it with me and with everybody else so that we can repeat ours and get that writing in. So even if you do have a time turner, there's consequences. There's consequences for messing with time and messing with schedules. So I have a set of strategies. There's 5 strategies I'm going to share today for figuring out where to fit in this academic writing. So if you are joining us, and I'm seeing people coming into the stream, we're talking about my 5 best, most powerful strategies for fitting in writing in a schedule that's already full. So my first one is to eat the frog. So many people have heard this. This is common productivity advice. If you Google like how to get things done, this is a tenet of almost every system. But to eat the frog is to do it first thing. So this works really well for tasks that you're dreading. And if you are somebody that doesn't bound to your desk with massive amounts of enthusiasm to get your writing done, eating the frog might work really well for you. So by eat the frog, I mean you do it first. You sit down at your desk, you don't open your email. You don't open anything else. You just get into your writing. Maybe you block off in your schedule the first hour of your day. So from 8 until 9, or from 9 until 10, or if you are a nocturnal being, from noon until 1 p.m., or from 8 until 9, depending on how your life looks. We're writing, and we're going to get that done so that I'm not waiting until the end of the day to hope that I'm going to be able to fit it in. This works really, really well for people whose schedules are really full, and it works really, really well for people whose schedules are unpredictable. So many times, and I'm sure lots of people on this call can relate, we say, okay, I'm going to fit in an hour of academic writing today. And you write it in your planner, and it's real, and it's happening. And then you open up your email and there's an emergency. And that takes your day up until 1 p.m. And then you have to eat lunch because you're a human being. And then you need to do the grading that you're going to get through that afternoon. And then it's dinner time, and then it's evening, and you've got this choice. Like, either I stay up an extra hour and fit this writing in, but my brain is nonsense and I'm exhausted and I will pay for that tomorrow. Or I just push it off and maybe I'll do 2 hours tomorrow. So if you're finding that you have the best intentions to get to your writing and you just never get to it during the day, try doing it first. Try eating the frog. So that's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is to treat it like a class or treat it like an appointment, whatever you take more seriously. So I don't know about you, but I am very, very good about making appointments and meeting them. I never cancel on my dentist. I never cancel my clients. I'm great about showing up for meetings. But if it's a date with myself, or if it's an appointment that I'm writing in my planner, like I will go and write from 9 to 11, I'm much more likely to go through, to just ignore that and do whatever I want to do from 9 to 11. So some of the strategies that can help you make it feel like an appointment are to block it off in advance. Have your Google Cal or whatever you do set a reminder so that 10 minutes before your phone buzzes and suggests to you that it's time to do your writing, to literally block it into your calendar so that you see it, to keep those appointments and not schedule over it. So if somebody says, hey, can you meet with me at 9:30? You say, no, I'm already booked. How is 11? There's all sorts of ways, but the more that you can protect that time and show up for that appointment, the better. So this works really well for people who are externally motivated, who have like a strong accountability gene. If you are externally motivated, maybe you make dates with friends and say, we're going to work together from 11 to 12 every Friday during Academic Writing Month. We have a whole channel in our Slack room that every 5 and 35 past the hour, people are leaving to do a 25-minute writing block. So maybe that's what you do. Maybe you commit to, I'm going to do POMs in the Work Together channel in Slack 3 days a week to help get that in. But the more that you can schedule it and then treat it like something that you can't schedule over, just like you wouldn't schedule over a dentist appointment, unless maybe you would. But treat it like an appointment. Treat it like something that you've scheduled and that you're going to respect. So for those who aren't familiar, we're now in strategy 3, which is to make your writing into bite-sized chunks. I don't know about you, but if I say that I'm going to write for 4 hours, the amount of writing that happens in that 4-hour block varies wildly. So sometimes on a miracle day when all of the planets are right and I have had my coffee and my sources are behaving and my argument is clear, I might be able to have a 4-hour writing session with no breaks. More likely than that, though, I need 4 hours broken up into 2 hours spread out over the day with some sort of break in between. And more than that, inside that 2-hour block, I use something called the Pomodoro system, or what I will refer to as POMs. So the Pomodoro system is the idea that you set a timer for 25 minutes And then you focus during those 25 minutes. So this usually means that I have to literally block Twitter so that I can't go on it, put my phone in a drawer away from me, close my email tab so that I can't see it, snooze notifications, and then I focus. And then when my brain acts up after 3 minutes, I tell it, anybody can do anything for 25 minutes. And then you get 5 minutes to do whatever you want. You can go on Twitter, you can get a snack, you can get a break, you can go for a walk. But the rhythm of 25 minutes of focus, 5 minutes of break does miracles for all kinds of brains. So I have had many clients who say, I don't think this is going to work for me. I know that I really like to focus. I'm really good at, focusing over hours. 25 minutes doesn't seem long enough for me to get into a topic. I encourage you to try it just for a little bit. Try it for a day. Because it really does help you structure the idea that sometimes we focus and that sometimes we break. It's those mini breaks in between that can really help rejuvenate you, especially if you're settling in for a long session. So, number 1 was to eat the frog. Number 2 is to treat it like an appointment. And number 3 is to break it up. Nobody that I know can write for 8 hours a day without some breaks in between. Very few people I know can write for 8 hours a day, period. So it is much easier to see your progress stack up if you commit to sustainable sessions, which is our 4th tip. So sustainability is not as sexy, let's say, as being a marathon writer. Many of us really want to be people who can sit down at our desk and then wake up after being in the zone for 8 hours and be like, wow, I produced 20 pages of writing. Maybe you can do that. And if you can, you're a unicorn and I congratulate you. That's amazing. But marathon sessions require marathon amounts of resources. So just like any runner would tell you, training for a marathon is intense. You can't just set out one day and run for 24 miles without training for it first. You have to strategically plan what it's going to take for you to run a marathon. You have to have snacks, you have to have water, you have to have people that will help you. You should have some running music, you have to have the right equipment, you have to have the right you have to have the right conditions. A marathon isn't something that you undertake gently. And then you have to get yourself to do it. You have to be in shape enough to do it. You have to have the lung capacity to do it. You have to have the heart capacity to do it. Marathons are not easy. The same thing applies to writing marathons. And a writing marathon to me is anything more than 4 hours. So if you're trying to do more than 4 hours in a day, know that that is a specialty skill that A, you have to train for, B, you have to have the right conditions to be able to do it, and C, you've got to have the right amount of support. So if you are sitting at your academic writing month planner and you're looking at your goals and it's going to require 6, 7, 8 hours of focused work a day, or even 6, 7, or 8 hours of focused work spread out over 3 days a week, 4 days a week, that is an extreme amount of work. It will need an extreme amount of resources. It will need a lot of time. It will need a lot of support. It will need a lot of paying attention to your body and what it needs. So marathons are very specific. The much more sustainable way to do it isn't as fun, because who's going to say, well, I'm going to commit to writing 100 words a month or 100 words a day. Katie, 100 words a day is nothing. Yeah, 100 words is not ideal in terms of 100 words isn't a dissertation chapter. 100 words isn't an article. 100 words is what, like 3 tweets, 4 tweets? It's not an immense amount of writing. But if you're starting from zero, 100 words done 5 days a week, that's going to get you 2 or 3 pages of writing. And if you're working on a journal article that's only supposed to be 5 pages long, 10 pages long, 3 pages is going to get you, 3 pages is going to add up. So maybe we think about instead of willing ourselves to commit marathons every day, these extraordinary acts of writing endurance, maybe we say, I'm going to work on trying to hit 100 words a day. I'm going to try and get 300 words a day, 4 days a week. I am going to commit to 2 POMs, so 2 25-minute blocks every day, whether that's writing or reading or note taking. But if you do it sustainably, it might not feel like much in the first week. You might not walk away November 1st with your new 300-word paragraph and think, I crushed it. But if you write a new paragraph every day this month, that's going to really add up. And that is going to show you so many other different skills. Which is going to bring us to strategy 5, is experiment with different times and different tools and different resources. So maybe you've signed up for Academic Writing Month because your work is feeling stalled. Maybe you've got a really huge deadline and you're feeling nervous because you don't know if you're going to make it. New results often require new ways of working. And this is one of the hardest lessons for, I think, so many of us to learn, that the skills that we brought with us through graduate school, through undergrad, through our master's programs, all of the skills that we've brought up until this life, up until this moment in this life, have gotten us the results that they've gotten us. So maybe until this point, you've been what I call a burn and crash writer. So you burn really hot, you get 4 or 5 days, you bang out a whole chapter, you bang out an article, and then you totally crash. You do get the article done, but then there's that crash, and that crash leads to a slowdown, which leads to you avoiding your work, which leads to you being behind. So maybe that's the result, and it does get you part of the way there. So maybe this month we're committing to a new way of working. So I want a different result. I want to feel when I turn something in that I am still an alive human being and not a shell of a person who's just kind of passing off this article with my very last bits of energy and then collapsing onto the couch for a week. So if you want to feel differently, you have to do differently. And that can feel really scary because it's like, well, I only know how to write in this specific way. So if I don't do that, then what's going to happen? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to get this done in time? So think about it like you're a scientist. Let's set up some hypotheses for Academic Writing Month. Maybe you've never tried a small and sustainable everyday commitment to your writing. So we set up a hypothesis. My hypothesis is that if I write 300 words a day, I will build steadily towards the draft of this chapter and not feel as burned out at the end of the week, and I'll be able to fit it into my writing schedule more consistently. Okay, so that's the hypothesis. I think that daily writing will leave me feeling more healthy and will fit into my schedule more easily. So what does any good scientist do with a hypothesis? They set up an experiment to test it. So in order to test my hypothesis about daily writing, I'm going to schedule right now 5 daily writing sessions. And I'm going to keep notes on how they're working because all good scientists keep notes about their observations of their experiment. So I'm going to write down how I feel at the end of every session. On Monday, I did my 300 words and it felt like nothing, and a paragraph is nothing, and I'm going to note it down that I felt dispirited. It didn't feel like a win. And on Tuesday, I barely got that writing session in, but I felt good that I squeezed it in between my classes when I didn't know that I could do some writing. You see, so you kind of make notes every week. And then you evaluate at the end of your experiment, because it might be true that daily writing doesn't work for you. Maybe the pressure of writing every day makes it really hard because your days are full of your job and your life, and you just can't squeeze it in. And missing that daily writing habit is just one thing to feel guilty about every single day. So then you evaluate the hypothesis. it says, okay, I didn't feel great doing a daily writing habit. How can I block time then on the 2 or 3 days a week that I do know that I can write, and then really fiercely guard those writing sessions? So then you make a new experiment that says, I'm going to save Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays for writing, and I'm going to really protect them, and I'm going to see how they go. And then you just run another experiment. But if what you've been doing isn't leaving you feeling the way that you want to feel, you might need to be doing something different. And it can be really scary, but hopefully there will be enough resources. You've got access to me in a Slack channel. You can always DM me on Twitter to help you support moving and working in a new way. If you have other questions, if something specific is coming up, I do offer free 30-minute sessions. So you can find, I tweet the link out every so often. It's also available on my website. Maybe you book a free 30-minute session and say, no, Katie, I really don't understand how to make this writing schedule work. Can we look over my Google Cal? I'd be happy to look over your Google Calendar. But I would really encourage you this month, if you do nothing else, to experiment with tools that you've never used before to see if it helps you feel ways you've never felt before. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so for those of you who might just be popping on, I'm feeling a little under the weather. But to kind of recap, because we're coming to the end of our webinar, I want you to make Academic Writing Month something that works for you. They're definitely build on the magic and the excitement of this special month. There is the reason that it works, and the reason that people look forward to it all year is because it does feel different. We've set aside November to focus on our academic writing. So build on that excitement, but make sure that you're building on it in a way that's going to make you feel like it's achievable. So if you're looking at your goals and you know that in order to meet those goals, you're going to have to completely rearrange the way that you live and breathe and work in your life, then maybe that's not the academic writing goal for you. I really encourage you to think about, what of these goals can I accomplish with time and space being the realities of limited resources that they are? How can I set up these goals so that they're not an unachievable dream, but that they're stepwise? How can I set up my goals so that I feel like I can do this? Because more than anything, I want you to walk away from November feeling like I have some new tools to try. I have some new community members to cheer me on and to know that I'm not alone. And I feel like academic writing is something that I can build into my life, whether it's November or not. So I just want to make sure that everybody feels that this is for them. Use the tools that work for you. Use the resources that make you feel inspired. Maybe try something new if you've never done it, but enjoy this month because it's here for you. I am holding this space so that you can do your very best academic work and end this year feeling like you've really moved the bar forward. Let's cross that finish line together. Thank you so much for joining me. This recording will be up if you need to reference it. I also have one more specifically about goal setting from last year's academic writing month, so feel free to explore the other videos on this channel. And I am looking forward to being on this journey with you. So let's go get those words on the page. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.